My name is Mighty Beard, and we are back here once again for some more D&D. We are going to be joining with the team out of Whitmore. They're finally returning home, and in the process, we'll be taking the new mayor of Crystal Head back home. Or to home, I suppose. Hasn't really been talked about as far as history for this guy, but that's where he'll be going, is Crystal Head, the new settlement that has been built up over the last few 10-day over on the west coast. This is Agents of B.E.A.R.D, and you can get all kinds of information as far as session recaps, lore, all kinds of stuff over at amightybeard.com, as well as different ways to get in touch with us if you want to. It'd be great. Also, when to catch the live streams, we do record all of these live over on the YouTube channel, and you can get those links there. But today we are joined by AlethaPrime. Say hello, Aletha.
Hello, I am AlethaPrime, and I will be playing the role of Wisp Ithrian, a wood elf druid, and I'm just excited to be here.
And Inditorias.
Hello, I am Inditorias, and I am playing Velskel, a gem dragonborn from up north who has come down into the continent to help his people merge with the settlers of the continent.
And last but not least, we also have the Gamer Hobbit.
Hello, hello. I'm the Gamer Hobbit, and I'm playing Calgrim, a hill dwarf who is from the northeastern region and is looking for a life beyond the halls of stone and wanting to learn the mysteries of giants.
So last time we were together, it was mostly a downtime session where we just handled some personal business, got some lore, got some just a general lay of the land. A few different aspects that we looked at. First of all, Vels traveled to a small village just outside of Hovedstad that is home of some of the Dragonborn refugees from his land, which is his land being up north here. So the group's kind of splintered off, and so he visited one group down here. Also got to talk with another member of that family house. Maybe house is a better term. And that was at the Guild of Records. They had taken an artifact that they had picked up in a previous session down from the Grimhood Marsh and Blackgate to get it studied, and they brought in a Dragonborn expert, someone who maybe would be able to tell history or significance. So yeah, you guys took that statue, that artifact, got it dated. They think it's anywhere between 100 and 200 years, so not very old at all. But it also seemed to really show like it had the significance of maybe the power that the Dragonborn had, or at least their I don't know. I can't think of that term. but they played a big part. They played a big part on the continent some time ago. So prehistory as far as the new settlers go. That along with dwarves and elves seem to inhabit this whole place, and potentially inhabited a continent that looked much different than what it looks now, because the night before, another party had gone down into a sinkhole that had opened up in the graveyard of Hovedstad and found an old map, and that map seemed to show what the society looked like as far as where towns were built, and the fact that, you know, again, it's kind of hard to tell. It was just a copy of the map. But from all intents and purposes, he sounded like that previously the whole continent was covered in trees, so maybe a single biome. But obviously, we've got a much different set of biomes now. So, but they need time to study it. So, in the meantime, you guys are going to be heading out west. Calgrim, you got some other news of just what's the news of the day kind of thing. So potential iron shortage, which is leading to an expansion of the mining industry. So they're heading out west. They think they found a place. They just need some help clearing it out over at the Iron Hope Post. Among some other rumors and whatnot, as far as potentially sending prisoners up north to Nordland to kind of do some of the exploration up there, because it's harsh land and not many people want to go out there. And speaking of prisoners maybe having less, because there is a lot of talk right now about making a thieves guild official. So legal thievery in some fashion. And Wisp, you also talked with two people that you had a connection with the murder mystery that we dealt with. So the high alchemist, as well as the head of the Jewelers Association of the Laborers Guild. And actually, both are heading out west with you guys. Seem to be joining on the same caravan. Did I miss anything? Was there anything else of importance last time we were together?
I think Calgrim caught up on a lot of sleep, if I remember correctly.
Well, that too, and drinking. Yeah.
Yeah. Typical dwarf behavior. Yeah.
Yeah.
That just about covers it for the most part.
Yeah, I should say the artifact that was dropped off for the Guild of Records. They did offer to buy it off of you, but knowing the significance to the Dragonborn and the House of Dusk and everything that's going on up north, or has been going on up north. All these splintered cells of different small villages and camps. Bells, it's your mission to reunite that group, integrate them with society, and it's thought that maybe this artifact might assist you in that. So you did not sell. You retained it just in case. The other thing that we learned is the mission. The mission for what you guys are doing today. We're picking it right up where we left off, which is you guys have just set off in this caravan, heading basically going to make a stop at Golden Grove, probably Hillview Stop, Pumpkin Town, and then ending your journey out in Whitmore. But yeah, basically, you guys, the mission is you're going to be escorting the new mayor of Crystal Head, Gardane Strongheart, who is a male dwarf, former member of the Adventurers Guild. And unfortunately, news spreads pretty quickly. And this is also kind of a hot topic because the last time a mayor was selected, they were murdered. So a lot of people are interested in talking about what's going on with Crystal Head and the new mayor, and so trying to keep it under wraps has been impossible. So instead of trying to sneak this guy out of Hovedstad and take him to Crystal Head, you guys are joining a caravan. Caravan is groups of other travelers. From what you guys saw, looked like there was some merchants. There was a dwarven family, and then obviously you also have the High Alchemist and the jeweler with you as well. But it's not just that. the Red Knives, which is a gang that has caused some havoc in Easton, but most recently in Hovedstad as well, is likely to be joining you potentially. At least that's the thought. Plus, then you have the shifters as well. So there's a lot of issues here that it's kind of up to you guys to determine how you want to handle. So you don't know who's who and what they're doing per se. It's possible you might have members of the Red Knives with you. It's possible you might have some shifters with you. You really won't know until there's a cause, I suppose. But you guys were pulled into a meeting with the Adventurers Guild when they gave you this mission, and it's not exactly that. You're not necessarily taking the mayor of Crystal Head down to his home. You're actually taking a decoy. That's because they have set up a teleportation circle from Easton to Hovedstad and vice versa, as well as Hovedstad to Whitmore. So the actual mayor will be traveling via teleportation circle, and it's just up to you guys to alert them once you get there, and then we'll go from there. But this was kind of being set up as a trap, kind of rooted out. If there's any shifters still trying to get involved in whatever's happening in Crystal Head, Red Knives as well. So I think let's start there. Just kind of thought process as that mission was given to you, and you guys are now on the road. What's going through your mind? How are you approaching this job?
Well, Vels is walking alongside the wagons and just keeping his eyes open and thinking like, all right, we got to make sure that we're keeping the mayor safe. So trying to just keep an eye out for anything that might look a little bit suspicious.
So are you just watching everyone, or are you...
It's more just like
staying
staying kind of, it's like passive perception. It's not so much like I'm looking at everyone. It's more like just looking, keeping that in your mind and like just observing passively.
Okay. You guys are in the middle of the pack. So you've got the family of dwarves in the front cart, followed by High Alchemist and the Jeweler. They're in the second cart. You guys are in the third cart. Behind you, you have a group of merchants. There are actually 3 carts involved in that group, and then you have a lone wagon, just one person. So yeah, you're kind of like in the middle of the pack. But okay, passive perception, just kind of looking around. Calgrim, how about you? What's going through your head during this? Start off. Oh, you're taking the reins, by the way. You
Yeah, so
you're driving.
I suppose like, well, with Calgrim, I suppose since he's driving the car, I suppose the most important thing for him is to make sure that the road he's traveling is safe for the mayor and all that. And for the rest of the companions and stuff. But I suppose he's also trying to do his best to like keep an eye out like ahead in case there's like any kind of signs of suspicion or like trouble. Yeah.
Okay, you've paused. I'm just gonna ask out loud. Is that okay? Calgrim, it sounds like we've got some audio issues with you. Started to drop a little bit of robots.
Oh yeah,
happening.
I've noticed too. Yeah.
Yellow, red, pink. Okay. All right. I'm gonna do something real quick. It's gonna disconnect you guys. But I'm gonna change audio servers just to see if we can get you a better connection. Somewhere. I always forget where to do this. Okay, I can't remember. But go ahead and talk and see if it's continuing to have issues.
Yeah. Okay. Calgrim, yeah, because Calgrim was, as you mentioned, was taking the reins. So Calgrim was probably mostly just trying to make sure that it's safe for, like on the road for the mayor and for his companions and for like everyone else who's part of the company. And he's just also just trying to keep an eye out ahead in terms of like if there's any kind of signs of trouble or danger ahead. So I suppose a little bit of passive perception in that regard.
Okay. Very cool. You sounded much better that time. Okay, but I remember what I put this out in. All right. Wisp. How are you approaching this?
I am walking behind the cart, kind of sort of keeping an eye on people, but also getting distracted by looking out into the landscape. Also just kind of seeing if there's anything out there that might be heading our direction, but also just things are interesting. I'm noticing like birds and flowers and stuff like that, but also, occasionally reminding myself that I actually need to pay attention and make sure the mayor gets there safely, and, occasionally striking up a conversation with Vels or Cal, depending on what strikes my fancy.
Yes.
So trying not to get distracted with greater or lesser success.
Yeah. And you really don't have a lot of information to go on. It's just possible that there are people involved in this caravan that would cause issues. One thing your characters would remember is that there is a belief that these shifters have the ability to somehow read surface thoughts. Things that you are thinking, they're able to read that. Maybe not all the time, but they do have evidence that it seems like they're able to know things. So it was suggested to keep things at a discretionary level, and just be mindful of what you're thinking.
Yeah, but I'm being very careful to refer to him as the mayor, because it's the mayor in the carriage.
Correct.
Yeah.
Good. Well, let's go ahead and everybody roll me D6s.
Mm-hmm.
And the purpose of this is we're looking for two numbers, 1s and 6s, which you got one of each. So 1s, well, 6 is best case scenario. So these are more like fate rolls. So they're not necessarily going to be changing the scenes, but you might pick up on some things that you would normally need to roll for, or you might find a hidden cache of health potions when you need it, or something good. 1s are the opposite. If you get a 1, worst case scenario probably will happen. But we got a 1 and a 6, so it'll be a normal day, or set of days in our case. But okay, you guys set out, and generally fairly quiet. Everyone's kind of sticking to one another as far as the different caravans go, or different wagons go. So those who are looking around, looking ahead, you see like the family of dwarves. They're all kind of staying to themselves. Same thing for everyone else, basically. Your journey for today isn't going to be too long. You're only going to be going about 15 miles, so about a half a day's journey, and then you'll be stopping at Golden Grove. These are 6-mile hexes, so yeah, 6, 12, about 15 miles to get to Golden Grove, and that'll be your first stop. You do know that the mayor, his prerogative is to have a meeting as soon as he gets there, or if you guys show up late for some reason, then it'll be the next morning. But he's supposed to begin negotiations with the mayor of Golden Grove, as well as Pumpkin Town once you guys arrive there. Just set up trade, rub elbows, that sort of thing. Get to know one another. Bells. Can you roll me a flat d20? Okay. Generally speaking, some traffic on the road with you guys. So obviously your caravan sticking together, about 10 wagons. And you've got some cross traffic probably about midday. So anyone who had stopped at Golden Grove, they're heading out to Hovedstad. So you guys are crossing paths a lot. With various traffic, so some longer caravans, some just one singular wagon. But this part of the road is definitely heavier, like heavily ridden. So a lot of open ruts. But it's a bit dry. It's a bit dry this summer, so no issues as far as the overall drive. Just bumpy. Not a whole lot of wildlife, Wisp. You got some birds that are flying around, but it's pretty open here. You've got a lot of open fields. The trees in this area are pretty minimal. It really won't be until Golden Grove and past that is probably when you'll start seeing an uptick in wildlife. But you've got like some deer. You've got small animals kind of roaming around, eating, grazing, that sort of thing. Calgrim, the mayor is gonna have some small talk with you. At first, he's asking like where you're from, how long you've been in the Adventurers Guild, that sort of thing. So just general small talk. But then he's going to start asking about what you guys have been doing lately. So I heard you got involved in the whole murder business. Seemed very odd. Are you used to that sort of work?
Certainly not for me, at least.
Oh, yeah, we definitely don't do any murdering.
Well, of course not you doing the murder. I just mean, have you seen anything strange like that? The whole turning
yes.
organs into crystals and stuff. That's odd.
Never seen it before. It's
very odd.
very peculiar.
Mm-hmm.
It's the first time I'd ever heard such a thing happening.
What is the like besides that? What is the oddest thing that you guys have run into?
That's an excellent question.
Well, what would come close to that was before we ventured over to Hovedstad, we went to the Grimhead Marsh or Blackgate, and then into Grimhead Marsh because there were undead rising from there, and that's where we discovered an ancient temple just in the middle of the marsh.
Temple, really?
Yeah.
Didn't do much travel out there. At least, it's been at least 15 years they had set up a small settlement out there. The hopes
It's
of,
really squishy out there.
Yeah. I remember it was tough traversing everything, but the fish out there were amazing. So what was the temple for? Were you able to figure it out?
Weren't entirely certain, but we found a little dragon statue that we took back to the Records Guild, and I met with them. Rogar, one of my close friends, he reasoned that it signifies that potentially the elves, dwarves, and dragonborn of this land lived in harmony once years ago. They also had found a map in the sinkhole the night before that predated the arrival of anyone on this continent besides those who lived here before.
There were apparently a lot of trees. Like everywhere, just trees.
Most of my work, majority of it was out of Easton. I did venture out to help protect some of the small settlements. At one time, there was a lot of strange creatures out there. Gnolls, especially down south of Easton. Owlbears. Didn't go much up north. It's just way too cold. But we stuck near the shores for most of what we did. We didn't have much of a reason to head out, at least until the Expanse. It's good to see. Good to see our life expanding. Means growth, means good things for sure. So you're all out of Whitmore then?
That's where we originally met up, the three of us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear it's much different out there than over on the East Coast.
It's a lot quieter out there. It's lovely.
Well, for now, I suppose it depends on how things continue to grow. But the villages are definitely smaller. There's so much more to explore. If I was definitely younger and I had the opportunity, I would be very interested in heading out into the mountains, seeing what's up there. Even in the hills. I would stay away from the marsh, though. That is way too wet. But you mentioned a map of gold. I really wonder. It's really unknown what all was here before we arrived. I know Hovedstad was built on some old grounds, Easton as well. A lot of things got buried in Easton, built on. I wouldn't be surprised to know that probably more of those types of temples around.
Oh, definitely.
I hear there's a lot of excavation happening in Sudund. A lot of archaeologists heading down, finding old ruins buried in the sand. At least that's the hope.
Really? Haven't really spent any time down there.
Neither have I.
Well, if the north is too cold for you, the south is too hot. An interesting continent. Seems like you got a little bit of everything here.
Mm-hmm. Makes life interesting. Always more to discover.
Can I get a perception from everyone?
Perception.
20, 22, and a 9. Wow.
I am very distracted. Just like saw a gopher on the ground and went to go investigate.
And some birds flew by.
Mm-hmm.
One considered landing on the back of the horse that's drawing your carriage. Thought better of it. You guys are gonna notice the so again, like you are kind of just looking around. You're looking ahead for the most part, but every few hundred feet or so, you do kind of look back and see what everyone else is doing. You're gonna notice that the cart in the back is kind of changing speeds a little bit. So you look back there, and he's kind of slowing down a bit, and then after about 15-20 minutes speeds up to catch back up to the group. Starts to move up, so it gets in between you and the merchants behind you. Yeah, it just seems to be not necessarily erratic, but just seems to be moving around a whole lot. Everyone else is kind of staying in their place, but he's definitely kind of going off to the side, staying behind, kind of moving around. He definitely seems to be more active than everyone else. Not necessarily concerning. It's just an observation. Doesn't really stick to one place for a long period of time.
I imagine that somebody mentions it to me and I go to check on the horse I imagine it's like is it like a wagon being pulled by horses, or?
Single horse.
Go back and check on it, see how it's doing.
It's a little smaller than the other horse, or the other wagons as well. Not a whole lot's being carried from what you can tell. Vels, you sticking with your wagon? Or are you
Yep.
moving with? Okay. So, Wisp, you kind of pull off to the side a little, kind of lag behind just to kind of get a better view. This guy, gnome, middle-aged, in common clothes, but a little ruffled, a little less taken care of. Doesn't seem to be carrying a whole lot. Actually, from From your vantage point, it almost looks like the wagon is empty besides him. Just some small belongings. Do you attempt to make eye contact, or are you just observing?
I'll go over and like kind of walk next to the horse for a bit. And then after a little bit, kind of look back and smile and just be generally friendly and
So quick observations about the horse. Let me pull up your character sheet here real quick. Yeah, I'd say passive nature. Horse seems healthy, seems fine. Generally speaking, doesn't seem spooked or anything. Just kind of doing what it does. Looking back at the guy, you're not really sensing anything off by him. He's just kind of he is kind of like looking all over the place. So even if you were attempting to make eye contact, he probably wouldn't have noticed you. But you do wave. He sees it out of the corner of his eye and smiles and waves at you. Hi.
Hey. Nice day for a ride, don't you think?
It's pleasant.
Ah, it's lovely. Haven't been able to stretch my legs for a while. Been looking forward to this.
Yeah, I don't know if I've been looking forward to this. I don't normally travel by wagon. I'm usually a walker like yourself. But I figured might as well give it a shot. I mean, you only live once. Might as well try it.
It's always good to try new things. It keeps you sharp, doesn't it?
Yeah. I don't think I'd do it again, but
So, do you spend much time around horses?
yeah, I like horses. Rarely do I work them,
Mm-hmm.
More on a friendly relationship type of terms than a labor intensive one. I mean, I'm sure he's enjoying the walk, and he's not carrying a whole lot, so I'm sure it's okay for him.
Definitely seems like he's doing pretty well, from what I can see.
What about you? You do a lot of traveling?
A fair amount, yes. Got a couple cohorts, and we kind of go where we're needed.
Adventures.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Depending on how you look at it, anything you do can be an adventure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Especially when you're going someplace new.
Well, it depends on how much you travel.
You ever been to Whitmore before?
To where? To Whitmore? Didn't buy it. Never gone in.
It's a pretty decent place. A little smaller. It's definitely smaller than Hovedstad, so a little quieter.
Well,
doesn't have a...
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Hovedstad either. I try to stay out of the cities, actually. Yeah, go in when you need something, but there's plenty of land.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Pretty happy among the trees myself.
Oh, you a friend of nature?
And known to speak to a bird or two when the situation calls for it. Although I will say they're not as good at conversation as you are, but you take what you can get.
Depends on who you talk to and how you talk to him.
That's fair. There are some people I've talked to that have been much less interesting than some of those birds. But what brings you west, out of curiosity?
Well, I spent some time in the mountains, spent some time down in the hills. Been a while since I've been out west. I just do a lot of traveling. No real
I'm
purpose.
sorry, I completely forgot to introduce myself. I'm Wisp.
Oh, Wisp, it is a pleasure to meet you. Jabal Welber.
Ah, the pleasure is mine, Jabal.
Oops. Try to copy and paste that again. Yeah, I just do, I just go wherever the wind takes me. Try some new things.
Mhm.
Find some new trees. Find some new life. Just see what happens.
It keeps life interesting. Well, I just happened to notice that your horse was kind of moving around a bit, and I was just kind of checking and seeing how things were going with it.
Things are going as well as it could be.
As well as one can with a pair of reins.
Smiles. Can you roll me insight?
Yes. Ugh. I am off today.
So, I think there's some observations that you can make here. Some relatable things about this guy. Again, he's not carrying a whole lot with this horse. But you do see up on the back of the seat, he does have a staff there. It's not a quarter staff, it's a full staff. Seems kind of old, has some like maybe feathers kind of dangling from it, from the top of it. But he's definitely been kind of like looking you up and down. What's that staff? That looks interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of new.
New to you.
Yes, new to me. Yep. Found it not too long ago. Yeah, I had an old oak staff that I used to use that came with me from home, but this one seems a little bit special, so I decided to switch over from the old to the new.
It looks special. Looks like it's been cared for. Probably has done some good things.
Carried me where I need to go. I mean, not carried me, but, just walking around and stuffs, so.
Not a flyer.
Not yet. Hopefully
Well.
someday, we'll see.
Why are you out west?
Oh, just a job with my cohorts.
You remind me of someone.
Really?
Can't quite put my finger on it. Are you from the Tangled Hills? Down south. Maybe near the jungle. Is that where you're from?
How could you tell?
Again, you remind me of someone I met on there.
Who might that be?
Oh, maybe a story for another day.
I do like stories.
You carry yourself like a friend of nature. Sounds like you're not really fond of cities much.
I can make do when I have to, but I much prefer being outside the walls. Too many voices puts me on edge. It's a nice little a nice staff that you have there as well.
It has also done me well. Family.
Can I?
Came with the family, actually. Something that got passed down. You were gonna ask something?
Oh, I was wondering if I know what kind of feathers those are. If Wisp does.
Oh. Well, they kind of look like owl feathers, but maybe like owl or yeah. It definitely comes off as owl, but they're larger. That seems like larger than the owls that you've seen.
So did you add the feathers to that yourself?
Yes, I suppose I have made some modifications to it.
Seems like quite the owl to get those from.
Good friend.
Really?
Good friend, yeah.
Where'd you meet him?
Actually, down near the jungles in the Tangled Hills.
Ah. Oh, I
Run
see we
through
might
there
have
a
walked
few
some of the similar
times.
paths.
Yes. I think I know your family. Is it? Well, let me ask you. Ask it this way, just to confirm my thoughts. What does your family do? Their job, their profession, if you will.
We're caretakers of sorts.
Caretakers of sorts.
Mm-hmm. Spent a fair amount of time among the trees and keeping an eye out for wayward wanderers who might be getting themselves into trouble.
Somewhat out of a job. Yes?
What do you mean?
Well, caring after wanderers. Wanderers stop. Not much for you to do. Am I correct?
Didn't say that the wanderers stopped.
Okay.
to be about?
You see him smile and just kind of like look away and start looking back towards the trees. Well, I'm sorry, not trees. Just the general horizon.
Hmm. We'll have to exchange more stories as time goes on. I'd love to hear your reviews from that area, the Tangled Hills.
Very well. Sounds very enjoyable.
Mm-hmm. And if you ever feel like walking and need someone to take after to look after the wagon, just let me know.
Will do. It's a pleasure meeting you, Wisp.
Ah, and you as well. And I will take my leave and return up to the rest of the group.
Few hours goes by. Not much. Not much to speak for. It's a pleasant drive. The wind is light, but it is pushing the heat off of you guys as you travel westward. It's about midday when you start to see in the horizon the village of sorry, Golden Grove. First thing you notice is just the amount of fields that are around. We are probably early summer, so stalks of the wheat are not quite ripe. They'll get there soon. Seems like you just have acres upon acres of wheat fields as you start heading into town. Calgrim and Vels. As you guys are getting closer to the town, you see the mayor. He is starting to kind of look through some paperwork that he has. Pulls like a little folder out from a satchel. I don't know if you heard, but pretty much heading into meetings as soon as we arrive. I don't know what your plans are for the day, but I'll probably be inside all day, most likely into the night. Quite boring work, this mayor life is, seems. Paperwork and conversations and deals, and quite miss what you guys do.
Well, your work is nonetheless still very important. Someone's got to keep track of everything.
At this point, it's about like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. You guys will arrive in the Golden Grove. It's a small town. Again, this is a place that you guys cruised through before. Maybe 30 to 50 residents. Yeah, it seems like you guys passed a bunch of wheat fields. As you pull into town, you see the opposite side of the town is just filled with cornfields. But in town, it looks like they've got a few shops. They've got a weaponsmith, general store. Got the mayor's complex, if you will. Seems like the main office as well as residence. Then you've got a tavern that has like an inn attached to it. But yeah, it's mostly farmland otherwise. Seems like there's plenty of spaces to park the wagon. So the front wagon is gonna pull right up to the tavern. Second one goes there as well. It seems like pretty much everyone's like pulling off of the road heading towards the tavern. The mayor points you to just head to the tavern as well. I should probably get a small meal, maybe a drink before I head into a night of meetings.
Probably would be smart. Who knows when your next meal will be?
My assumption, since we got here on time, we'll probably head out in the morning. I have no need for you for the rest of the day, so feel free to do whatever you'd like.
Sounds good, Mayor. We'll see you tomorrow morning.
All the best with your meetings as well.
Good food.
You guys park the wagon. He takes the reins from you after you guys stop, and ties the horses up, gives them a nice pat, and then heads inside. The merchants, they seem to be kind of sticking around their wagons. Just seem to just be going through supplies, and like whatever they brought. Their wagons are tarped, so it's like a big covered wagon style, if you will. You see the High Alchemist and the and Air Death. They head into the tavern. Wisp, you look behind, and Jabble and his wagon, they kind of fell back behind a bit again. Takes them a few more minutes to get into town, but seems to go past the tavern and head over to the other side of town. Finds a tree and just hangs up the rope next to the tree.
Okay, so I can kind of see which direction he went in.
Yeah, so there's only one road. It's east to west, so he just continued to go east. Maybe like 100 feet from you.
While not looking at him, I kind of relay some of the details that I picked up to Vels and Kalgrim. Not quite sure well, yeah, the fact that he's kind of wandering and adventuring. Didn't quite tell me exactly what he's doing. Seems to know a little bit about me, apparently. Has a really nice looking staff with some feathers.
Do you have any feelings about the things he said to you? At least that you're saying out loud.
Well, he seemed friendly enough, but at the same time, felt like he might have been a little bit guarded with with answering some questions. But then again, I could just be on edge. Who knows? Part of me wants to keep an eye on the mayor. Part of me wants to keep an eye on other people. And I can't be in two places at once.
So What are you guys doing?
Probably head into the tavern. Considering it is midday, about lunchtime. So
Where was it the mayor went? Did he go to like a different place?
Yeah, well, no. Where he was heading was going to be across the street. But where he is now, he went inside the tavern.
Okay. Yeah. I like to quietly keep an eye on him as much as I can.
Yeah, the family of dwarves went in there. Death and the High Alchemist went in there. Merchants are still by their wagons. But yeah, you guys can head in. Not, I mean, obviously you guys are bringing some traffic in. Otherwise, it's fairly empty. You've got maybe 2 other patrons in there. They're sitting at the bar. The mayor found a seat at the bar. You got the bartender. You got a waitress now that is seeing a bunch of people come in. And she tells you to sit wherever. She'll find you. You've got maybe like 6 tables in there. The tables are long tables, so it's like they're basically benches that you just pull out rather than individual chairs. Seems to seat maybe 50, 60 people if it was at full capacity. But I imagine you guys find a seat. Yeah, kind of goes in order of entry. So talks with the dwarves first. Death and the High Alchemist, they're sitting further down the table than you. Comes to you for orders. It seems like they are mostly they've got a few ales. This tavern is called the Black Dragon Inn. You see the barkeep is a male dwarf. Seems to be very, very, very friendly. From what I mean, you're just hearing like a lot of laughter coming from the bar, especially between him and the new mayor. But yeah, they got a few ales. Most of them are from Easton. Stuff that you guys have seen before. Food wise, it's pretty light. Got some breads. Corn on the cob.
Mm.
Some other vegetables like potatoes and squash. Doesn't seem like they've got a lot of meat on, at least for lunch.
That's not too bad on a warm day.
What would you guys like to do? Having small talk and meals, or you guys planning anything out? How'd you like to handle the rest of your day?
figure we can start off with some small talk, but then at some point I want to ask Vels and Kelgrim what we think about trying to keep an eye on the mayor as much as we can. He said he'd be inside, but it's going to be out of our sight, and I don't necessarily like that.
Hard to guarantee safety when he's inside, but if there's other adventurers out here, then he should be in safe hands.
But what if those adventurers are shapeshifters? I mean, we've had some infiltrate the guild before.
Point.
I'd assume with something so important, they'd be really careful about that, but
Do we know which building he's going to be going into? Or will
Across
we
the
have to
street.
wait until... Oh, okay.
That's
Does that building have any
Yeah.
windows?
yeah, you got windows out the front. So yeah, basically how this town is laid out, you've got like you're on Main Street basically. So this is the downtown. So you've got the tavern. So on the right side of the road, you've got the general store, which is the first building, and then you've got the tavern, and then you've got there was a smith that you saw next door. And across the street is a larger building, but it was the mayor's office. But what you heard? Looks like it doubles as an office and a residence. As you were coming in town, in the fields you saw some other residences, but they were like spread out further back, like in the middle of the fields kind of thing. So yeah, this city is definitely spread out quite a bit. But yeah, if he's staying downtown and you guys are staying downtown, it would be difficult to keep track of him. Okay. Well, we would know that the we'll say like the waitress has brought out a spread for you guys. Dwarf. Looks on the younger side, maybe younger than you, Kelgrim. So, is this your first time in Golden Grove? At least your first day?
first day. We've been through before, but just passing.
Not much going on. Easy to miss.
Still nice to have a place where you can sit down and put your feet up for a minute.
Most people just drive straight through. Might stop for drinks, but drive straight through. Doesn't take much longer to get to Hovedstad if they're coming from the west, or to Hillview stop. Most stop. You're gonna need a room for the night, or are you just passing through?
Yeah, we're gonna be staying the night, so yeah, we'll need a room.
Do we want to share a room or get separate rooms? I can sleep just about anywhere, so.
likewise.
You could share a room.
Mr. Strongheart said you guys can get whatever you like. We do have about 15 rooms open. I imagine the rest of the caravan that came in will be wanting to stay. But we should have plenty for everyone. If you want individual rooms, I would go ahead and get them now.
How many people are in the caravan?
A dozen.
Okay.
Dozen total.
I guess there's enough for our own rooms.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't mind having one that, if you have one that faces that building across the street, would be preferable.
Oh, sure. Yeah, of course. Yeah, we've got that wing open.
Obliged.
Can I get anything else for you?
Can I get one more of these meals to go?
Sure. Do you want it delivered to your rooms or?
Oh no,
Or
I'm
just
just gonna
to the
take it with
table?
me.
Okay. Sure. Yeah. Of course. And she walks away. By
Pardon?
this point, the merchants have all come in. So again, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's five more merchant-looking people, and it looks like maybe two kind of heavier guards type people along with. Seven in total. But they take a table on the other side of the room. But now you've got everyone in here except for Jabba. Has not entered in yet.
And as soon as I get that extra meal, I want to go out and give it to him and check up on him. Just figured you deserved a hot meal at the end of the, well, middle of the day, I suppose. Not quite the end of the day.
Just as the merchants come in, the mayor is going to see himself out. Watch him head out, walks through the doors, you watch him through the window, and he heads across the street. But okay, you want to take a plate out to Jabble.
Mm-hmm.
Calgrim and Vels, what do you guys want to do? She's getting up to leave. What do you like to do?
Will you go to my room, I reckon?
Just a context reminder, it's probably about 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Vels is gonna go outside, take a quick glance over at the building the mayor's in. and then just kind of look around. Just he's only been in this place passing through, so now seems like a good time to just gather in the surroundings and enjoy his stay.
Go ahead and roll me perception. All right. So main things you notice is that again, you're just surrounded by fields, but definitely off in the distance, maybe like a 10-minute walk. You do start to head into some low hills. There's some wooded areas out in the southwest direction. Fields kind of go right up to it. There are a few paths heading in between fields. As far as people around, definitely seeing people work the fields, but not a lot of traffic on the street itself, outside of some people just riding through. As far as looking at the mayor's office, it's definitely not a huge building, but in comparison to everything else, it is on the larger side. Looks to be 3 stories. There is appears to be a bell tower in the southeast corner. Got a single bell that you can see. It's got a little rope dangling from it. A lot of birds around. But there are a lot of windows. You can see there are some people moving around in there. You do see the mayor. Excuse me, Mr. Strongheart. You see him shake hands with another noble, probably the mayor here at Golden Grove. And he sits down and kind of gets out of the window view. Yeah, it's just very, very quiet, very, very relaxed here. Very relaxed town. Wisp, can I get a perception roll from you?
Yes. All right, come on.
Got walking out with this. Or it's a box. Like she had put stuff in a small wooden box.
Okay, I've rested, had some food. Let's do this. Yeah, it's better.
All right, so yeah, the tree where Jabal had stopped. You do see the horse still there, eating the grass around it. Jabal seems to be sitting down, leaning up against the tree, kind of looking off in the distance. But as you walk up, definitely not difficult to hear someone walk around, especially because it is relatively quiet. But you notice he doesn't really react at all as you step forward. Even step on a twig and break it, and no reaction. What are you doing?
Does he look at me as I approach?
No reaction.
Gonna quietly set the food down in front of him take a few steps back and just kind of like watch him for a minute.
Do you see any, like, you don't say anything?
Well, he didn't say anything.
You place the food down, you kind of take a few steps back, and his arms are kind of crossed, you're just leaning up against the tree. His eyes are open, though.
Does it look like he's just breathing slowly?
Yeah, he's breathing, but you are gonna notice his eyes are kind of glossed over. Of white.
It's not normal.
Mouth is kind of slack-jawed.
I'll go up and poke him. Just in the shoulder.
No reaction.
I'm going to cast Detect Magic. I forgot to long rest, and I'm not sure where that button is.
Front of your
there it is.
character sheet.
Okay, we'll do that first, and then Detect Magic.
All right, let's read this spell. You sense the presence of magic within 30 feet of you. If you sense magic in this way, you can use your action to see a faint aura around any visible creature or object in the area that bears magic, and you learn its school of magic, if any. Go ahead and get rid of that aura.
Thank you.
Yeah, we found that out last session yesterday. If you're on this map, like it just ignores it ignores the measurements for some reason.
It's at 30 miles. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah, there's an aura magic. It is conjuration.
If I walk over to the wagon, can I sense anything in there?
Looking in the wagon, there is just a small bag.
Look in the bag.
Okay, how are you going about this?
Is it just like tied shut, or?
Correct, but I guess what I'm asking is, like, you're just walking to the wagon, opening up the bag. Are you trying to be sneaky about this?
Yeah, but also kind of keeping an eye on him as well. But yeah, sort of sneaky.
Okay. You will recognize some of the items in here. There's an herbalism kit. Like a mess kit as well. A small blanket. That's it.
I'll tie it back up as, close to it as it was before. Do I see the staff nearby?
He's got that with him. Got
Is that
to his
magic
side,
as well?
basically. Yes. Do not detect a school.
Well, I'm gonna head back over to the building where the mayor is and look in through the window and see if anything's going on.
As you start walking away, you hear him clear his throat. Is this from you?
Yeah.
And he points down at the food.
I
Appreciate that.
figured you'd deserve a hot meal.
Smell it. Well, thank you. What do I owe? Pleasure of such a service. Food delivery.
Perhaps a story later.
He nods.
And I leave.
Then, yeah, he kind of turns back, leans his head back towards the tree, and just continues to look off in the horizon. You head over to the mayor's place, and again, it seems like it's definitely the largest building here, but it's not large by any means. Bunch of windows. Not much activity on the first floor.
Do I see him?
No.
I'm going to head back to Vels and Kelgrim and let them know what I just saw.
Yeah, I think you might see Vels standing outside and looking around.
Something is going on with that gnome. I can't say for certain whether or not it's something shifty. Wink, wink. But there's definitely something magical going on. I say very quietly to him. Mention the fact that he's using some sort of conjuration magic and can't quite place what his staff is.
Definitely have to keep an eye on him.
Do you want to roll Arcana to see if you maybe recognize anything?
Yeah, worth a shot, I guess.
21. Okay. All right. Let's
My meal did
retcon
wonders.
Yeah, let's retcon that statement real quick. So, it's conjuration. The way his eyes were kind of glossed over, the fact that he wasn't really responding, didn't seem to notice you. It does. You don't know how well. Let me open up a sheet again. It's not something that you're familiar with. As far as you're not sure how to do it yourself, but you are familiar with the concept. But if it is conjuration magic, then that is most likely that he conjured something up. And if he was not responding to sound or touch, it's quite possible that he was using a find familiar. But you do not see anything around outside of the horse. Really isn't a whole lot of other animals around that you can see.
My assumption is that he was casting Find Familiar.
Yes, would be a educated guess.
Okay.
And just in case you're unfamiliar with Find Familiar, it basically means you can conjure up a small beast, be able to see through its eyes. There's a telepathic bond between them. See through its eyes, hear through its ears. Which could be why he wasn't responding.
Yeah, so I'll be kind of keeping an eye out for any sort of small creatures scurrying around. Or even flying. turn to Vels and be like, well, I did see a few birds earlier. Might want to think about what we say and do while we're outside.
Yeah.
And did I see the building? Or is he on a different floor?
Repeat that, please.
Did I see the mayor in through the window, or is he on a different floor?
You do not see the mayor. So he could be on a different floor. Vel
Okay.
saw him.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are communicating back and forth, and Vels knows that he was on the second floor.
Okay.
Do you head inside then? Find Calgrim?
Yeah, just let him know what I saw as well.
Yeah, I'd imagine Calgrim would have said that he was heading up to his room. So easy to find, just the room next to yours. Calgrim, what are you doing?
I was just keeping an eye out from the window, just seeing if there was any kinds of traffic along, and then just like I suppose just resting a little bit, kind of like a mild rest, because from the taking the reins for the first time. Yeah, probably just a little bit
I bet
fatigued
your
from it.
hands are. Yeah, I bet your hands are kind of rough. Maybe a small blister. The room accommodations are minimal. You got a bed, you got a small table, with a wooden chair. Then the table's up against the back wall, which is where the window is, so you could really even like lean up against the table as you're looking outside. But as far as traffic, I mean, there were a few single horse riders that rode past. You'd see Val's outside through the window. See Val's and Wisp having a conversation. But other than that, it's fairly quiet. You are on the second floor, so you do have a better vantage point of looking into the field. So there are some people out working in the fields you can see. Roll me perception.
Yep.
I would say you do have, or you did have line of sight with Mr. Strongheart as he walked in one of the rooms, and you saw him shake hands, but you didn't see who he shook hands with. You saw him sit down. You can just kind of just barely make out the top of his head. Seems to be sitting down, facing away from you. Looks to be in some kind of nicer room. A lot of like shelves, a lot of books in the room that you can see. I'd say at this point, Wisp, if you're making your way up there, you'd get there right about now.
How's your seat doing, Calgrim? Sitting down
Best
for a
it can
while?
be. Best it can be for the moment. How
definitely.
was? I'm sorry. You go.
Oh, just definitely different than our trip east.
Sure is. These fields are quite different from the stuff I've seen. It's nice to see from above all the workers working at the fields.
Yeah, I imagine it'll be. Yeah, with probably a couple more months until harvest or so.
Seems that way.
There's always work to be done.
How's the gnome? Who's the gnome guy? Japple, wasn't he?
Yep, Jappel. He was not sleeping. He is doing some sort of magic. And I don't know. I'm a little weirded out, but at the same time, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a terrible thing.
Hmm.
But it looks like he's possibly looking through a familiar of sorts.
Right. Gnome doing magic. Guess that's someone we're gonna have to keep an eye on.
It's handy, but it makes things complicated.
Hmm.
Yep, so if you see any little animals scurrying around or a bird that seems to take some particular interest, might be good to call it out, I guess.
Will do.
As you say that, Calgrim, you look back outside, and you notice a small hawk kind of lands on your windowsill. It's kind of cleaning its feathers and looking away from you.
Like a bird like that. I'm gonna go over and take a closer look to the window. Try and get as best of a view as I can.
As you stand up and get a closer look, I mean, you're like within like 10 inches from it. It's just on the other side of the glass. But as you look, it almost like turns its head real quickly and looks at you, and then flies off. It flies across the street, the bell tower, the mayor's office. Kind of floats down, lands on a ledge over there, looking in your direction.
I wave. Actually, I head downstairs and head outside and look up at it. And I call out, "Your food is getting cold."
Yeah, it's a little far from you. It's a little harder to see once you step outside, but you're gonna just yell up to it. Your food's getting cold.
Directly
Right.
at it, but I'm gonna shout it.
What does not respond. But then just out of your periphery, you see Jabble walking towards you with the small box. No, it was quite warm. Actually, thank you again for the food. Wait, were you talking to me?
Yes, I was.
Can't pass a hot meal. It was very good, but thank you again. And he's gonna walk the small box back into the tavern.
And I look to Vels and just shrug. It was a bird.
Okay. Well, if there's nothing more that you guys want to do this afternoon, we can fast forward to evening time.
That
Starts
works for
getting
me.
kind of crowded. Starts getting kind of crowded downstairs. Tavern just fills up pretty quickly. You see a lot of people walking from outside in. This is definitely the center of town, so it seems like a good portion of the residents is here. They must eat at the tavern at night, so it seems like everyone comes in. And yeah, it's just filled with people. Seems like every table is just about filled up. There's some open spots. There's also a few spots open at the bar. A lot of families, it seems. Humans, dwarves, elves. But yeah, there's a lot of. Seems like a lot of groups. The waitress that saw you before says, "There's not a lot of seating, but if you want to pick up dinner, it's at the bar, or we can deliver some stuff up to your rooms. It gets kind of crowded here at night."
I guess we can take our food up in our rooms.
Very well.
Works for me.
I'd say at this point it's probably about 6 o'clock in the evening, so it's just starting to get dark. You guys go ahead and order your meals. You head up. Are you crowding into a singular room to have your dinner together, or are you eating separately?
I think we'd probably end up eating our dinner together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
It takes a little longer than lunchtime to get your food. It takes about say about a half an hour. But eventually, yeah, you guys you hear the knock on the door. Food is brought up to you on a plate. Drinks as well, if you order drinks. If you need anything else, just walk on down. Let us know. We'll come upstairs in about an hour to get plates. Otherwise,
You're doing a great job tonight.
yeah, well, it is the job. It is the life. What happens when your husband owns a tavern, the only tavern in town?
I didn't know your husband owned it.
Yeah. Someone's got to do it. Anyways, I gotta get back to work, but you guys enjoy your meals.
Thank you.
You guys can kind of move the table around so you guys can maybe pull in the 2 chairs from the other rooms to sit down and eat. And I get perception checks from everybody.
Perception.
Two 12s and a 7. I would say as you guys are starting to sit down, hear a noise coming from outside. It's like almost like the wind, like a whistle. Not a whistle, but you know how like the wind blows up against something, it has that like almost humming sound. But you're hearing that. You're not seeing like the windows move or anything, so it's hard to tell what it is, what it's coming from, but definitely a sound there. Kind of a drone almost.
Can we open the window?
Yes, you can.
I will do so and just kind of peer around a little bit.
Yeah, opening up the window, peering around. You are seeing some people stand around outside. You got some people with pipes out front, holding ales. Some conversations. You're just kind of, again, you're like a floor above. They're kind of like off to the side near the entrance. But yeah, there's like just a low. Well, it's like a higher pitched hum, but it's not windy. Passive nature would suggest it's definitely sounds like the wind, but you're not feeling wind, so it must not be coming from that. Seems to be coming from west.
Any thoughts on what that sound might be?
Maybe the wind.
Look like anything's blowing outside. At least in like the immediate area, I don't see anything moving.
No. Well, again, there are some people downstairs, but they're not walking. They're kind of standing in place, in like circles, just chatting. And it's probably about 6:30 in the evening, and at that point you hear sound of a bell, and you look over, right, like just like right away, instantaneously you see the bell start to strike. Someone pulling the rope from underneath. And at that point you do notice that the people that were outside all seem to start heading in.
Like into anywhere particular, or just like into their homes, or?
No, it seems like they were all at the tavern, so they all head back into the tavern. The bell rang 6 times. It is quite loud, so quite possibly they didn't want to be outside while the bell was ringing. I mean, it is relatively close, like within a 60 feet.
But is anybody going back outside now that the ringing is done?
No. No movement.
Should we check with that waitress and see if we can figure out what's going on?
I say.
Yeah, it would be a good idea.
Wait for the hour to go by for her to return for the plates, or do you head downstairs? Again, it was quite busy down there.
Keep an eye on here if you want to go ask her.
How about this? You guys think about it. Let's go ahead and take a 5-minute break, and we'll come back.
Good.
Okay.
Are you guys still here? You guys are quiet. Are you expecting more from me? Okay. Okay. Just double checking. All right, well, take a break and beverages, and we'll come back. Okay, we are back. All right, so yeah, you guys were talking about some of you going down to talk to the waitress. Wisp, as you look back outside again, just trying to figure out the source. You're gonna notice two things. One is you're gonna see the mayor, Mr. Strongheart, that is, stand up in the room across from you. And you see there's a few other people in the room with him that kind of stand up, and they all there's some hands being shaken, and you see it looks like a door opens and some food is catered in. So you see them all kind of hobnobbing it up, having some food.
Okay. Like they're
The
all
other
eating
thing you're
together.
gonna notice, yeah.
Okay.
The other thing you're going to notice is Jabal is going to just kind of creep out into the middle of the street, and he's going to walk up to just the side of the mayor's office and just kind of look off to the west. You're not seeing any other activity in the street, but he like just kind of stands and
How far away from me is he? Just out of curiosity.
well, you're about I would say roughly 25 feet up, and then he's another maybe 50 feet from you, 40 feet from you. So
Okay.
whatever that equation is.
So detect magic wouldn't do anything in this case because he's more than 30 feet away.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll just kind of keep a close eye on both him and the mayor while Vels and Kalgrim go and try and get some information.
Okay. So you two head downstairs, and yeah, again, it's kind of hectic down there. There's a lot of people, like shoulder to shoulder in a lot of cases. A lot of conversation happening. You do see the waitress walking from the kitchen, bringing some drinks. She's got like 6 mugs of ale that she's trying to juggle as she walks over to a table and she sets them down. But yeah, everyone that you came in the caravan with, except for Jabal. Jabal's not there, but everyone else seems to be in here. You don't see the High Alchemist or the or Air Death either. You're not sure where they are, but just I mean, again, there's about roughly 50 people in here, so it's not hard to locate someone, but you're definitely not seeing them. I'd say you guys are just kind of like walking down the stairs, down towards the main entrance where all of this activity is going on. But yeah, just a lot of people eating, drinking, a lot of conversations. They're all kind of meshing together as far as sound goes. What do you guys do?
Go and say to Vels, it's a busy time for Golden Grove, isn't it?
Yeah, well, everyone's getting back from the fields for the day, so makes sense they'd all come over here.
Indeed. Suppose we should try and find the waitress to.
Yeah, I think I just saw her. There she is.
And do you try to walk up to her, or you try to just flag her down to have her come to you?
Given how busy it is, it's probably easier to walk over to her, or try to walk over to her. seeing how crowded it is. But
So yeah, you kind of have to weave in and out of the crowd, but you're able to reach the waitress. Is there anything you need?
well, we just heard the bell ring a lot, and wondering what that meant.
Oh, 6 o'clock. It's just a tradition. Before we had the tavern fully set up, it was something that the town did just to let everyone know it's dinner time. It'll ring again in at the next hour. Let everyone know it's time to go in.
Thank you. Yeah, we were
Really
just
nothing to worry about.
Yeah, a little concerned, but all right. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I get perception checks from you guys?
Yep.
22 and a 17. Okay.
Nice.
You guys are near the front entrance. So I think you're both gonna notice two things. One, the group of merchants. There's the two heavies that are with them. Definitely eyeing you both. Not necessarily aggressively, but they just seem to be watching you. You're also going to notice as you turn back to head up to the stairs, looking out the front entrance, you do see that gnome kind of walk out, standing like in the middle of the street, looking out away from you, out past the mayor's office. Seems to stop and peer off. Maybe heard that same sound you guys did. You guys head back up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wisp, you're still kind of like partially eating, but also watching outside.
Yes.
After it seems like Jabble stands there for maybe a minute or two. And then he kind of looks around. You see him look towards the tavern. He looks up towards the second floor, but doesn't make eye contact with you. And then he starts walking west.
Like back to his cart.
No. Sorry, southwest. So towards the fields and the woods.
I want to follow him. I don't want to take my eyes off the mayor.
It's about this time that Vels and Calgrim get upstairs.
So that bell, it lets all the workers know that it's dinner time. Nothing to worry about.
Cool. Sounds good. And then I'm going to wild shape into a cat. Just like a little tabby. And head downstairs and go after Jabble.
All right, you're not going to say anything to them as you do that. You're just going to head out.
I don't trust the gnome. Keep an eye on the mayor. I'm heading south-ish. Southwest.
All right. So here's the question for you. Are you jumping out the window cat style, or are you walking down the stairs and out the front door?
I've been playing Stray, so I'm going to jump out the window.
Sounds good.
If there's something I can jump onto, I'll do that first, but
Yeah, I would say there's like a little overhang roof, just underneath your window. It only goes out like maybe a foot or two, but you're able to land on that, and then from there you can jump into the street. But yeah, you'd be able to follow him. So you get up towards where you get up to the side of the mayor's office, and you see him heading out, walking towards the fields. There's like a little path that seems to cut in between two fields, heading southwest towards the woods.
I'm going to keep a little bit of a distance, but try and follow him as stealthily as I can.
All right, roll stealth.
Okay, and I get advantage because I'm a kitty cat.
15.
Okay.
But he's not huffing it. He's just walking casually, but he's definitely walking away from everything. Did you notice the sound seems to be getting just gradually louder as you start heading in this direction? Yeah, no wind, so it's definitely not wind, but it's like a higher pitched howl almost, reminiscent of wind. Not.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it can't be. There's no wind. At least
none that would make that sound.
What you see is the only thing that he's got with him. Well, he's got his pack on. He's got his staff next to him. Just making his way into the woods. Takes about 10 minutes to get there, but you guys eventually enters into the woods. And he kind of pauses, and he looks around. Now, again, you're going in between fields. There's a small path that kind of cuts in between two fields. Definitely places that you can kind of dart in and out to hide. But he does turn around at one point. Like he kind of pauses and starts to turn to look towards back towards the town.
I'm hoping my color to kind of blend into the fields just a little bit.
Yeah.
When he turns around, I duck down and make myself small.
Or again, you can easily cut into the fields. So hide. Like a little ditch on either side, maybe like a small irrigation ditch. Creep down in there as well. But yeah, he stops and kind of turns towards the town and shakes his head. That sound.
So he might be investigating it as well.
And he turns back around and continues to walk into the woods. Oh.
And I can... Yep, I follow.
Okay. Once you hit the woods, again, it's been gradually getting louder and louder. Walk maybe another 10, 15 minutes. And he kind of pauses and just looks around. I would say you're gonna see some things. I mean, there's tree cover, so it's a little thicker here.
Right.
But you're gonna pass a stone structure. It almost looks like an old well, maybe. And at first he passes and he kind of looks down. And he looks back towards the town. And then he just starts to scan the area. But he's like standing like he moves a few feet forward.
Mhm.
Just kind of scans the area.
Does it sound like the source of the sound is coming from this area, or can I sense if it's further away?
Let me pull up Cat's character sheet. Perception and stealth are what you're proficient in. Well, actually,
I keep my perception.
We'd be looking at your perception. Is your perception high? Oh yeah, your perception is very nice. It almost, I mean, you're lower to the ground, but it almost seems like it's here, like you're right next to it, and it's like just a solid drone. And then there's pauses in between, but it almost seems like it's like right here.
And what is Jabal doing again?
He starts walking again, and just further away from the town. Just the same single direction. You follow?
I don't want to get too far away, but I'm so curious. Let's see. Nope, I head back. So I'm gonna run back to the others.
Just before you do, so he walks maybe 10-15 paces, and he kind of stops. And it's starting to get a little hilly here, but he kind of stops and he looks off to the right, and he takes his staff and he just kind of pokes at the hill, and it's not wood hitting ground. It almost sounds like a different surface.
Oh,
It sounds like glass. And he walks over and
weird.
starts to kind of pull some leaves back, and you see stained glass there. Almost like it's making a dome or something. Weird. If down here. So
I'm gonna go up to
you
it.
wanted to run back?
Oh, now that I see that he's
sorry.
stopped, I wasn't sure if he was going to continue going. I want to take a closer look at what he's unearthed, so I'm just going to casually walk up there and kind of paw at the ground a little bit and see if I can.
You're
get a closer
making
look.
yourself obvious, so you're like getting right up next to him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hello, friend.
I look up at him and meow, and then continue trying to see what I can see as quickly as possible.
So yeah, where he had pushed away, you see almost looks like a glass dome. So the hill isn't actually a hill; it's a glass, but it's overgrown. A lot of like vines and leaves and stuff over top of it. Looking down through it, it does seem like there's a room down there. Seems like there's some kind of mosaic on the floor. You're about maybe 25 feet up off from the ground, from that floor. Just kind of sunk into the ground. Care to join me for a bit of delving, friend?
look up at him and then look back at the town. And then back at him.
It is a bit scary. I really wonder what that sound is. Kind of interested to see what this room is. Doesn't seem like much traffic has come back here. If you don't want to join, I won't force you. So probably don't want to go down by myself. And he starts to kind of like walk the perimeter of this thing. He takes like maybe 10-15 steps. Pauses again. Interesting.
Oh, I hate being out here by myself. Choices. How long has it been?
15 minutes since you left.
Ugh. Well, I still have time because I can be Kitty for 2 hours. But maybe I can bring somebody back.
He is now kneeling and pulling some leaves away. Again, he's 10-15 feet from you. There's an opening over here. You sure you don't want to join? Seems rather interesting.
I'll join him. Do like a little bit of digging, and if there's an opening, I might see if I can squeeze through it.
Yeah, over here, it looks like a tree had fallen. So there's a break in the glass right there. Definitely big enough for a person to climb down. Probably easy enough to climb down just on the trunk itself.
Yeah, so I'll start to climb down.
Okay. It's been 15 minutes, guys. You've been eating your food. You've been watching the mayor. The mayor seems to be having some friendly conversations with other people in that opposite room. But it's been 15 minutes since Wisp has left. What are you guys doing? Have you been talking the whole time, or you just been watching and eating in silence?
Some light conversation while also like keeping it like not like just staring at them across the way, but like just glancing over a little bit, kind of keeping an eye.
It's been gone for a bit.
Yeah, I'm sure she'll handle herself well. She always does.
I'm sure she can.
I'd say right about this time, you guys hear the bell ring. Ring 7 times. Start to see people heading out of the tavern, going back towards their various residences throughout the fields. It's almost like clockwork. Like as soon as this bell rings, everyone seems to start to head out. Waitress comes in, or knocks on the door to pick up the plates. I'm here for your plates.
Here you go. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sure. And there's nothing else I can get for you.
No,
I think this should be good. Thank you.
good.
Well, you enjoy the rest of your evening.
And you.
Takes the plates and heads back downstairs. Okay, Wisp. You hear those bells as well. But
Am I still hearing the
climb
sound?
into this? Oh yeah. It's
Okay.
loud, so it almost drowns out the bells, but you can definitely tell they're bells. Just this other sound that starts.
Yeah, I'm gonna enter cautiously.
All right. One moment. I'll bring you over to the seat. So you climb down. Let me actually bring over the cat. I am going to make a decision here. Because I feel like it's necessary. And that is, from now on in this campaign, cats have dark vision.
Okay.
Do you wait for him to enter in, or do you enter in first?
I'll enter in first.
Okay.
But also, I'll kind of see if he's following behind me.
Yeah, so you enter in. So again, there's some glass on the ground that you can see. There's a lot of dirt on the ground as well. But as you start climbing down this tree, there is an obvious break. So it's like the trunk like hit it and kind of snapped off. So it's like the trunk goes down for about 5 feet, and then you can jump down the rest pretty easily, pretty nimbly. So you enter in, and he follows, and I'll bring you over to the map.
Oh, and can I just say that I kind of did some scratch marking on the side of the log before I went down there?
Sure.
Okay.
And you should see the map. Hopefully. Be able to move around with your cat self.
I'm Tiny Kitty.
I don't know how to show this to you guys. Play theater of the mind for the other two. But you guys enter in, and there is still a little bit of daylight, so the room is lit up. Some obvious things. You've got what appears to be some mushrooms over here, some overgrowth that has leaked in. Obviously, you've got this tree trunk that has crashed through, and you've got this mosaic in the center of the floor. You are an interesting cat. Very adventurous. Let's start looking around. See what we can find.
I'm gonna start following him. Occasionally,
He
like
seems to
brushing
be
up.
he seemed to be focused in on this mosaic as he.
I'm gonna occasionally like go in between his legs as one does. Just keep him on his toes.
And besides acting as a cat would, anything else you're doing?
So there's the mushrooms, there's the overgrowth, there's the mosaic. Is there anything else that I'm seeing as I'm wandering around?
Just this statue with like a little stone table in front of it.
Let me go over and look at the statue.
The statue, that stone table in front, you could like jump on it. It's only like 2 foot tall.
Yeah, I'll jump onto the edge of it.
It looks like an empty basin. Statue looks to be elvish, holding it's like robed, but it's holding so it's made out of stone, so like a grayish color, but then you can see through the robe, kind of poking out at the back is the tip of a black sword. Not noticing really anything, any markings, any writing.
Can I smell anything coming from the little basin?
It's empty. Yeah, it's empty. I mean, it's empty and cold. But no smells. I mean, there's obviously earthy smell in here, just from everything else going on, but
nothing really unexpected.
Yeah. Turn to look at your gnome friend, and he seems to be running his hands around the mosaic. Looks like there's grooves here. Some writing. I don't understand it, though. Know this script. There's grooves here. I imagine maybe this opens or something, or it did. Seems odd. Or maybe it's just cut that way, I suppose. Find anything interesting at the statue? Kind of looks at you and smiles, and turns and looks towards the statue. What were you asking?
Can I see any sort of writing on the mosaic?
Yeah. There is some writing that seems to be engraved in it, kind of like around the inside ring of the mosaic in that like little blue area. For those listening, it's a circular mosaic. It's got 4 rings. The outer ring seems to have it almost looks like a sun, kind of childlike sun drawing. You got like the little spokes of the rays coming off. But yeah, you do see writing engraved in that middle strip.
Can I recognize what it is?
Yes you do. It is written in Elvish. It says, "The moon reveals autumn path. Use patience and let it shine."
Okay, I'm gonna go look up at Jabble, and then kind of go behind the statue a little bit, so I'm not entirely in view, and then I'm gonna turn it back into myself.
Okay, well, there's not really room to do that.
Well, yeah.
I mean, you'd be standing next
as
to the
much as
statue.
can be.
Yeah.
I wait till he turns or something.
So you want him to see you do this, or you want him to be surprised that you're standing there?
I want him to be surprised. Although I'm not entirely sure if he will be.
Hey. So you kind of creep around the statue, and he looks at it for a few moments, and he starts walking over to the mushrooms, and then you shift back in shape, and he kind of jolts to the side and looks at you.
Meow.
I thought you were an interesting cat. Should have suspected.
I can be an interesting cat.
Thought, thought this of you. You said you
Well-
weren't a friend of nature. Well, still,
Well, you know curiosity in cats, so.
of course. And druids. An interesting place.
You are not
I,
wrong.
Did you understand the writing?
As a matter of fact, I do.
What did it say?
The moon reveals the autumn path. Use patience and let it shine.
Kind of like looks down, thinking about it. And he looks up to the roof. Well, won't be much moonlight in here if that's what it's looking for. It's too overgrown. Though with the clear sky, should be passing over within the next hour. Do you think it's a riddle? You think I'm overthinking this?
I'd be overthinking it just a little bit. I'm not sure how the overgrowth is going to affect the light, but we may just have to wait for it. But I will say that sound still concerns me. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, now that you're inside here, you can still hear it above you. It does kind of feel like it's all around you. Yes, almost like a wailing. Something's in pain. Not necessarily humanoid, not necessarily bestial. Confusing. I just had to come out and see what I could find.
Do I have any idea if there's some sort of creature that might make that noise, or am I unfamiliar with it?
Well, I mean, now that he said, it sounds like something is hurt or suffering or something. Like it does kind of, you do kind of get that vibe. But as far as like what kind of creature would make that sound as long as it's made that sound, like if it was hurt, like probably should have died by now, you know. But it's just a constant thing. So yeah, I would say you're not sure. Like it's just confusing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It did seem like it was coming from the well, but maybe it's trapped here.
Maybe it's supposed to be trapped here.
Suppose that's true too.
Hmm.
I'm curious. Why did you come out here by yourself? I mean, I know why I came out here by myself. I'm by myself, but you had people too, didn't you?
Yeah, and
your
they're
adventurers.
Yeah, they're doing the work right now, and I'll admit I was curious. I saw you heading off in a direction that wasn't your cart, and I was curious what you knew that I didn't, and it seemed like you were heading in the direction of whatever this sound was. Because it definitely wasn't the wind.
Yes.
Oh, I kind of don't want to waste another spell, but I think I'll cast Detect Magic again.
Okay.
He said it's about an hour before. Is it an hour before sundown or an hour before moonrise?
Maybe about a half hour before moonrise.
Okay.
But you detect magic.
Maybe I'll ritual cast detect magic since I have a few minutes.
Yeah, he's gonna continue looking around. Starts looking at these mushrooms. Ritual, I think, it's
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Mhm.
Yes. You do sense magic coming from this, from the mosaic. Not sensing school. There is something magical about that mosaic. And actually, the outline of it perfectly matches with the grooves that he pointed out to you. Again, it just could be how it's cut, but it seems to be a perfect circle around this mosaic.
Am I getting anything from the sword that's at the statue?
No.
Okay. I don't know if I can get somebody and come back in 20 minutes.
It's almost as if just the sword was painted. Then again, it could be everything. It could have been the entire statue was painted at one time, but time it wore off. I mean, it does seem very old in here. It seems like things have been growing in here for a bit. Yeah, the rest of the paint could have just been worn off, and just that tip that's coming out was just somehow shielded from that, covered by it. But yeah, you're not sensing any magic.
Let's see. Am I detecting anything from the well at this distance?
I would say the well is outside of your 30-foot range.
Can I crawl out for a minute and
Sure.
see if I sense anything?
Yeah, if you climb back out, again, not super difficult to do so. No, you're not sensing any magic from the well.
Okay.
But as you start heading back, he stops you. Just humor me, if you could. Just clear some of the overgrowth from the top of the dome, from the eastern side.
And I'll go back up and start moving some things along as best I can. And I'm also kind of looking down and seeing if I can see him.
Yeah, if you clear some of the overgrowth on that side, like he's looking up, like right there.
Okay.
And he looks back down at the mosaic and then back up to the hole, and then gives you a thumbs up.
Yep. I just want to make sure I'm inside before the moon starts to rise.
Yeah. We'll say another half hour, 45 minutes goes by. Calgrim, Vels, at this point, it seems like the mayor and his crew over there no longer eating. You see a few people walk out of the room, and the mayor sits back down to where he was sitting before. So you're just kind of seeing the top of his head. Start to see some smoke rise from right in front of him. Looks like maybe he's smoking a pipe. Another guy walks over to the window And again, the noble, you think it's the other mayor, kind of cracks open the window. Also has a pipe in his hand. And moves back to the other side of the room where you can't see him. I would say at this point it has been 45 minutes since Wisp left.
Well, Mayor looks like he's fine. I'm nothing to worry about. I wonder where Wisp is.
Yeah, she's been gone for a minute.
Yeah.
Maybe because she was gonna follow Jabal, wasn't she?
Yes, and
I did tell you which direction I was headed in. Roughly.
roughly. Perhaps we ought to go and try to check up on her.
Maybe. But also the mayor as well.
Oh, there's other adventures here that are keep an eye on for the mayor as well. And I think
Yeah,
we
let's
ought to
go.
check.
Let's go and check out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I just
Do you
take
guys
like
walk
one
out
final?
and start
Yeah.
heading out
And
in that direction?
Heading in the direction that we were told.
Okay.
Won't go anywhere? We don't know.
Any kind of like traffic on the street beforehand, like as we exit the tavern?
Yeah, it seems pretty empty. The two other shops that were on the street there, they've got closed signs up. No lights coming from inside. Really, the only lights here are the mayor's office and the tavern.
Okay.
Can they still hear the wailing sound?
Yes, they still, yeah, you still hear it. Not completely constant. It's it's like a few seconds of pauses every 30 seconds or so. Same sound like over and over and over again. You guys walk out and you start heading in that direction. Again, there's like a small path in between two fields. Got woods up ahead. Just scanning the fields, you're not seeing the signs of anyone. Some obvious foot traffic in this area, but not super heavy. No signs of either Wisp or Jabal. Well, the cat, Wisp or Jabal. And I think that's where we'll end.
Okay.
At the 3-hour mark, so it's probably a good time.
Okay. Exciting things to come.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But everyone in the live chat, again, you can find out lore and session recaps and how to reach out over at mightybeard.com. But it's been a pleasure. Hopefully you enjoyed, and we will play D&D together again very soon. Later.